Today's faith feature is going to bring us west of the Mississippi River to Springfield, Missouri, where Jeff Nene, national spokesperson for Convoy of Hope, is joining us via Skype. Welcome to Faith Feature, sir.
Thank you so much, Rich, for having me. I've been excited and looking forward to talking to you.
Well, for those that don't know what Convoy of Hope is, give us a little bit of background of how important your ministry is and what things you do.
Well, most people that have heard of us, at least, would say we're a disaster response organization because we've responded in our history to over 400 disasters all across the United States and literally around the world. We've been in, I think it's about 126 countries now. But we do so much more than that. We have a children's feeding program where we feed 300,000 children every school day. Tied to that, we have a program for their mothers called our Women's Empowerment Program, which is a jobs training program. We teach them how to start and manage businesses. And then we also have an agriculture program tied to that to help them learn how to grow their own food. I talked with our founder one day, Hal Donaldson, and I said, how do you sum it up in one short statement what Convoy of Hope does? Because we do so many different things. And he said, really, it's simple. We use food to share the gospel. And really, that's what it's all about. We use food to share the gospel.
So coronavirus came along in March and probably threw a monkey wrench into everything. Tell me how the pandemic has impacted your organization and what things you're doing right now to still serve the areas in which you're trying to serve.
Sure. We're doing several different things. One, internally, it's been a major adjustment for us. We have about 200 employees across the U.S., and most of them here in Springfield, Missouri. And we also have about another 150 internationally. Well, we've equipped everybody to work from home. So I'm working out of my home office right now. My wife works for Convoy. She's set up at the kitchen table. And we've been working from home for over 3 weeks now. I think we're in our 4th week and starting to get used to it. But we still have a staff that is working in our warehouse area. So we have all of our warehouse staff, all of our truck drivers, and then some limited support personnel that are working from there. Because our founder, this goes to the second part, the spiritual side of what we're doing. Our founder said, you know what, we can respond to this either with fear or with faith. And we decided we were going to respond with faith and do the best job we could at bringing people hope, because that's what we do. We use food to share the gospel. So in a way, we're using that food to bring hope in Jesus Christ to people and doing it all through local churches all across the country. So he set up this deal. He said, we're going to respond in a big way. We are going to commit to providing 10 million meals to people that have been affected by the COVID virus. And so we started that. I mean, for some of us, we got that shocked look, wide-eyed. And we said, okay, that's big. We've never done anything like that before. But he's got a saying that I love. He said, we follow the miracles. And for Convoy of Hope, we have always been, in our 26-year history, a miracle organization. We are not able to do anything without those miracles of God that lead us. So what we do is we follow those miracles. When God provides a miracle, we step out. Sometimes we step out in faith first, and then God provides the miracle to be able to do that. Those 10 million meals, they're only about $1 a piece, but that's still about $10 million. And so that's a big miracle that God is in the process of supplying.
And that's absolutely awesome. And that's a great testimony. And we need to hear a lot more stories like that in the midst of this challenge that every single one of us at some level is going through as a result of this pandemic. Now, one thing that you had mentioned previously was the fact that a lot of people know you as a disaster relief organization. And you had talked to me offline about how you have assisted in some of the hurricanes that have hit in the Gulf Coast and the Atlantic over the last couple of years. But more specifically, as of this recording, in the middle of April, we have just come off the heels of a very bad tornado outbreak Easter Sunday into the 13th of April 2020, which did all kinds of damage and unfortunately took many lives from Louisiana to Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina. How has this pandemic impacted that response for you guys?
Great question. We have a program center in Louisiana. We have a few of these scattered across the country, and there is so much weather, so many weather incidents in the southeast that's a good location for it. So our disaster services team here in Springfield, Missouri, where the majority of the people and equipment are located, they're on their way and probably have just arrived shortly, not too long ago, in Louisiana. And we're going to be partnering with our program center down there to do a response in the Macon, Louisiana area. It's an area that was hard hit. 200 to 300 homes that have been impacted. So that's an area where we can provide food and supplies similar to what we're doing on the COVID virus, but for a totally different reason. Those poor folks are going through both. I mean, they're not spared the COVID virus because they've had a tornado. They're just dealing with both of them right now, and our hearts go out to them.
So tell me where you guys go from here. It looks like that as of this recording, it looks like it's going to be a protracted, longer recovery towards normal, whatever normal or a new normal is, several months from now. So where are you guys going from here? You had mentioned getting to that 10 million meal mark and potentially exceeding that. But as you guys are looking forward, what are you seeing as of right now, and where do you think God is leading you?
I think He's leading us to keep doing big things. So, for example, with this COVID virus and the 10 million meal response, we're over the 500,000 mark already. We're well on our way. So I think that when we hit that 10 million mark, I truly believe that unless God has supernaturally taken care of the virus, that there is still going to be need out there. So we're going to blow past that 10 million mark and continue to reach out, providing hope and doing it through the local church. I talked to a pastor yesterday in Orlando, Florida, and his church had received one of our tractor trailer loads of supplies, and they fed meals to 100,000 people in one day that came through their parking lot, or 100,000 meals, I should say, to people that came through their parking lot. And those are some of the stories that we're hearing. And really, if you think about it, that's Convoy's heart, is to equip and empower the local church, because the local church is the closest to the action. I mean, they're the tip of the spear. They are who is active in their community, touching people on an individual basis, touching people with small groups, touching people in their congregations. They know that local community far better than Convoy of Hope does. So what we want to do is equip those local churches and empower them to reach out to their community. And right now, it's through providing meals to people affected by the virus.
Man, that is just an incredible testimony from Orlando. 100,000 meals. And especially in a place like Orlando, where you have a lot of people out of work, because that is a very hospitality oriented, and hospitality is one of the industries that has been basically almost wiped off the map because of the shutdowns. So I'm sure that was a huge blessing. For folks that want to help out, you mentioned several times the local church. If local churches aren't connected with you, how can they get connected? And if people want to be a partner with you guys, how can they connect with you?
Great questions. I think the best way is to go to our website. They can find all the information there. They can find out how to contact us. It's convoyofhope.org. And when they get there, the lead story is the COVID-19 response. So they can click on Learn More. and they can then find out, some of what we're doing, where we're working, some of these stories that are coming back in. If they feel led to make a donation, they can do that there as well. But primarily, they can find out that story. They can find out how to connect with us and contact us. And we've received now, we're probably close to 600 requests. We won't be able to meet all of them, but what we've done in certain cases, and seem to be doing more of this, is getting churches to partner together. It takes a pretty significant church to be able to handle an entire tractor trailer load of food. So in a lot of cases, especially in some smaller communities, we see churches banding together, and they're divvying it up. They're taking it out door to door. Some churches do door to door, some do drive through in their parking lot. There's a lot of different ways to handle it. But if they just go to convoyofhope.org, they can find out more information, and they can contact us through that.
Jeff Nene, National Spokesperson for Convoy of Hope, thank you so much for joining us on this faith feature. God bless you guys for walking by faith instead of fear, and for dreaming big, and for being such a big blessing to people across the country.
Rich, thanks so much. We appreciate you getting the word out to your network, telling the story, and we just appreciate everything you guys do to further the cause of Christ.
Absolutely. Amen. We're all in this together, and by faith in God, we move forward and leave it all up to Him.
Yep. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Jeff Nene from Convoy of Hope, and this has been Faith Feature on the Mars Hill Network, giving you hope in the journey.